victory overall?
Yeah, it was for us. Yeah, I mean, certainly last week I came up here last week and watched the Giants play, and I seen them put the pressure to Geelong and score 5 goals quickly in the first 10 minutes. And I thought, well, we couldn't come up here and not put pressure on them. And we needed to make sure that we were able to put that on. And we talked about our behaviours again today about what we needed to do, not the scoreboard. And to the boys' credit, they were able to do that really well.
Pretty important to get back on track after the previous 5 games. I guess you had to buy to sort of reform and get something into it.
Yeah, look, the bye came at probably a good time for us, but it was important. I mean, there's a fair bit of pressure on our club today. I think everyone was quite happy to talk up the pressure on Port Adelaide, and I'm really proud of the boys today, the way they stood up.
Okay, what was the major difference between the game last year and this year when the boys won very well?
We didn't really speak about that at all. I think the group's changed so much, and so many new guys came in. There was no point talking about it. Obviously, it was a disappointing day for the club, but we're 6 wins now. We only won 5 for the whole year last year, so certainly the improvement's been great, and it's a great group, and we've got to compete going forward.
So you played in both games. What's the biggest difference you actually noticed out on the field today compared to last time?
Mate, I can't remember last week, let alone last year.
I'll back him up on that.
You declined to be chaired off the ground?
I had my 250th only 6 weeks ago, so unfortunately, this game came 6 weeks later, so had a big build up for the 250th, so I just wanted to keep it a little bit more low key this time around.
Pretty happy with the former game 34 touches.
Oh yeah, it's good. I think I've been dropped off for a few weeks there, but to get back on track's really good, and I think we had a number of good players today. We've had some guys down on form probably the last 3 or 4 weeks, so to run them back into some form today was just great to see. We had a lot of good players today.
For you personally, you had a pretty good game?
Yeah, I was happy with it.
You can only sort of play against what's in front of you, but is it not maybe the best preparation for the arrival of the Swans next week?
No, it's good preparation. There's no doubt about that. I mean, AFL football, you play it every week, and these the younger sides, they get better. They, as I said last week, I've seen them kick 5 quick goals against Geelong, and if you let them do those things, that's what can happen. We admire the way the good sides go about their business, and we want to be one of those sides at some point, and we know that you have to put pressure on. And sometimes these sort of games are probably harder for you to handle. You have to be able to come up and do what you need to do to get the job done well.
You said you were under a fair bit of pressure today. Do you think you'll be under a little bit less pressure next week because there might be lower expectations of them?
Not for us, there's not. There's not lower expectations for us. We expect to be a really strong club, and we expect to compete well against whatever the competition is that we face up to. And we look forward to next week's challenge against a really good side.
Some of the talk in the build-up, like them basically labelling you as a great opportunity for them to get their first win this season, was that motivating for the boys?
I certainly didn't talk to the boys about it much at all, other than we mentioned the fact that they thought it was their grand final build-up. But we deserve a bit more respect, I reckon, in the competition. That we've worked really hard this year, and Port Adelaide not the easy beats. We're going to get some losses, but we're going to turn up and we're going to perform. The behaviours that we're going to put out on display each week are going to be the same, and we're going to win some games, we're going to lose some games, but we deserve some respect.
You said there was some pressure on you coming into this. Where was that pressure coming from?
Oh, I think everyone sits in this room and said that the Giants played well last week, and Port Adelaide came up here last year, and there was a big drama with what went on last year at the club and all those things. So those things are hard sometimes. We don't talk about them, we block them out of our mind. But there's sometimes you've got to be mindful that that's a pressure that's inside, and it can build up. We knew one way to stop that pressure, and that was to be at our best in the first quarter. And we had a really explosive first quarter today, and that's something we haven't been able to do that often, albeit we've won our last 2 first quarters, which we're proud of.
They came back a little bit in the last quarter. The game was already won by them, but any concern there?
Oh no, yeah, we want to be a 4-quarter side. We still haven't been able to do that all year, and we're going to keep at that. And I said that to the boys, that again, some of the numbers that we look at, they were clearly in their favour in the last quarter. So that's why they won the quarter, and that's why we lost the quarter. The scoreboard, it gives you what you deserve.
Ken, you started the season off with 5 wins on the bounce, and then your last win before today was May 4. How much pressure was there on you and your playing group and your coaching staff to turn that around coming off a bye?
Yeah, there is. I mean, you don't want to lose. You don't want to lose 1 in a row, let alone 5 in a row. And every time you lose one, and that pressure keeps building. And yeah, there's certainly, but that's AFL footy. I don't think we're nervous about pressure. We're more nervous about what we're supposed to be able to perform like, and how we're supposed to be able to behave. And when we do that well, even though we've lost 5 in a row, most of that stuff that we've done, we can actually put our hand up and say we had a go at what we were trying to achieve. Some games we were a little bit down, but most of the time I think we performed the same way.
Was the heavy handball count by design, especially especially in the first quarter, I think at 75, which is outrageously high.
No, it's not by design. Sometimes that happens because of what the oppo are doing to you, a bit of pressure on nice and at the contest, and I think what it does show you that we were in an outnumbering position quite a lot, which allows you to handball the ball a lot, and we worked really hard to put ourselves in that position to have numbers near the ball.
Apart from Travis Boak came off midway through the last quarter with what appeared to be dislocated finger, nothing more serious than that?
Exactly what it was, a dislocated finger, and he's just had it put back in. I was actually just talking to him, so yeah, that's a footballer's injury that happens every week, and a lot of times at training too. Unfortunately for Travis, it's a sore finger for a couple of days, and hopefully nothing more than that.
And everybody else pulled up okay?
Hitchcock's ankle, yeah, he certainly rolled his ankle. That'll put him in some doubt for next week, I'd imagine. But again, that's just after the game. But he's been good for us in these 2 games back. But certainly, when you get a rolled ankle, you have to be subbed out of the game. It normally would suggest that you're probably going to be in trouble for the next week.
Will you get scans on Travis's finger?
Sorry.
Will you get scans on his finger, Travis's, or is it just a?
Yeah, no, well, sorry. I'm not being a doctor, I'd expect that's what they would probably do just to make sure everything's okay, but we expect that, again, like I said, it's a dislocated finger. I don't think it's something that we'd be too worried about. Having said that, things do turn around and go pear-shaped sometimes.
What do you think of Jonas's job on Cameron today?
Outstanding. Yeah, he's an amazing young talent, young Cameron, and we knew Tommy had played on him last time and held him to 8 possessions, but he still kicked 3 goals too. We thought coming into the game, if we could hold him to that 2 or 3 goal margin, we'd be pretty happy with his performance. I was really keen for Tommy to finish the job, and the free kick in the last quarter that he gave him sort of got him his first goal, and then he got another easy one. So up until that point, obviously he'd done an amazing job for us, and we went with him. They put him on the wing to try and free him up a little bit. We just weren't going to let that happen and let Jonas go. We left him with him, so to make it a hard game for him.